Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of Inside Out with Sahas Ali. I'm so glad that you could, if you have already listened to the first one, then I'm really glad. And if you haven't, then please go back and listen to the first one because that's the foundation where we are talking about what we are going to talk about in Inside Out with Sahas Ali. And since you have already done that, then welcome to the second episode. Hey, Ali, what's up?
Hey guys, I'm good, man. How are you?
Great, great, man. So, how's your week been so far?
Week's been good, man. I just busy with work now, kind of winding down since Christmas is coming up. But it gave me some time to kind of reflect. I was going back and forth and seeing like how the last year went and how things changed. And one thing, which we're going to talk about today for sure, but at the same time, one thing I noticed that I struggled with, and I know a lot of people struggled with, is this uh, weird little feeling or thing in your head that says, "I'm not good enough." I'm sure you've had that feeling like I'm not good enough for this, or I'm just not good enough in general. I'm sure everybody's had that. Like, what do you think, Sahas?
Yeah, I think, see, everybody goes through that kind of a thing. But then again, it's the resistance between your ears, it's the resistance brain which tells you that you are not good
Mm-hmm.
enough. So, like, we know that, right? There is a good side and the bad side. And
Yeah.
obviously, most of the time, it's the bad side of us, which is
Mm-hmm.
always overpowering the good side of it. It at the end of the day, you know what matters, Ali? Like, what are we feeding the most? Are we feeding our anxieties? Are we
Mm.
feeding our fear? By the way, both of the things are different things. Anxiety is entirely different than what fear is. A lot of people
Mm-hmm.
confuse anxiety with fear and fear with anxiety, but
Yeah.
anxiety is just, born out of nothing, from nowhere. It is not born out of fear. Fear is like feeding to your family. Fear is, uh, earning money,
Exactly.
which is what gets you to do that. But anxiety is actually something which stops you from doing that. It actually
Exactly.
kills your dreams because
Mm-hmm.
you're anxious about something, and you are already creating a story inside your mind which has not even happened.
100%. I so agree on that because I've dealt with anxiety and fear both on, and they're very different. Fear for me, like let's say, would be, um, you'd have fear for your family, like you said, or fear taking an action because you know of the results. Anxiety would be, that's it's funny how anxiety works. Anxiety is supposed to protect you in a way if you look at how evolution has worked, how science has worked, and how the brain functions. But anxiety at the same time does not know what's dangerous and what's not, what's growth and what's actually life threatening. So if I say like, hey, um, I'm having anxiety because I'm going on a first date, so the fear would be on that, okay, um, it could be anxious, or you could embarrass yourself, the person could turn out to be psychotic. Anything can happen, so anxiety is holding you back. But at the same time, you have to face it in order to, let's say, grow, meet people, or even in a networking event. So it's
Right.
funny how like anxiety really works and goes out of control for a lot of people.
That's absolutely right. And you said very rightly that, our brain functions in such a way that its first level of action works as a defense mechanism for us.
Yeah.
So whenever something happens, its first uh, action is to how to, survive,
Mm-hmm.
how to get into defensive mode. And when we put ourselves into those kind of situations, the first defense mechanism, what the brain starts, which is a lizard brain, by the way,
Yeah.
says that,
I love that concept because it's so true. Like, we humans are basically still primates, like animals in our brain. Like, we're just really evolved talking monkeys in the end of the day.
right? It's just like, even when you're crossing the road and your lizard brain says, don't cross the road, they could be, you can meet with an
Yeah.
accident,
Yeah.
right? So our natural sense of mechanism works in that way. But also, I don't know whether you know this or not, like our brain is being divided into four different segments, one of which is a lizard brain, another which takes care of the touch, breath that we take and everything,
Mm-hmm.
a part of which also has like senses like motion or anything that we do. A part of our brain takes care of that. And there is a newest part in our brain which is developed in the last, I don't know, it has evolved over the period of time. It was never there when we started from the caveman era. So it
Okay,
develop
interesting.
over the period of time, which
Hmm.
is your, the artistic side of your things. The reason why it is not that strong, because it is the
Hmm.
newest part of our brain, which is
Right.
why, like, whenever something happens, about a majority part of us says that you cannot do it. And this
Exactly.
little part of us says, which is weak because it's so new, and it says, you could do it. But the majority part of us say that you cannot do it. It's so interesting. So, so I'll give you a little like brief about like where do I get to know about this. So I was reading. So I'm a huge fan of Seth Godin. Seth Godin is like,
Okay. Yeah.
he, you could say
Hmm.
that he's the, father of modern marketing. And there's a very
Hmm.
famous book of his by the name of Lynchpin. And what he talks in
Yes. Yes.
that book is that, you could choose either to be a cog in the uh, industry or in this world by working under somebody and just, exist, or you can be indispensable. You can still be working for somebody, that is fine, but then again, you know add a little more extra flavor to it, add a little
Hmm.
more value to it, make that work as your work. Only then you can be indispensable. The meaning of indispensable, that you cannot be, replaced.
Hmm.
So his point of way is saying that, and that can only be done if you have control over your lizard brain, which is the resistance that you face in your brain all the time.
You know, I know we're talking about, it feels like we're all over this place, but it all ties down to the same feeling that we're not good enough. Where does anxiety stem from? I'm not good enough, right? Why would you have fear? Let's say if you have, um, you're taking on a new venture, why would you have fear or deep rooted fear or any kind of a fear about failing? Because you just don't have the confidence in you saying that I'm not good enough to do this. Whether, and I've noticed that it actually, this kind of mindset, not it's not even a mindset, it's just how we were raised in our society, because we are judged from a very young age when we go to school to passing our, like, our grade school, college, university, getting a job. It's all based on how you perform. And over time we're pulverized into thinking that you have to be good enough, you have to be good enough, you have to do well, you have to make money. So in the end of the day, uh, humans fail in everything once in a while, almost all the time. But small failures act up, and you start picking those up as a piece of evidence that you're not good enough over time. And then you end up snowballing, and you have this massive lingering little guy behind your head saying that you're not good enough anytime you want to do something new. So I've noticed that for me personally, every time I wanted to pick up a new business or try something else out or get into like a new skill set, I would have that mindset still in the back of my head saying, you're going to fail. Don't do it. And that would be the biggest resistance. Even when it comes to eating healthy, going to the gym, you'll have that little guy saying that, don't do it, you're going to fail because you're not good enough. And I find that is actually it's honestly a disability if you don't fix it. Good thing it is fixable, but it is actually really it'll hold you down to really growing into a better human being in your entire life. And it's actually something we are talking about today because I feel like not a lot of people talk about this. Yes, taking action is important. Doing things outside of your comfort zone is important, but if you don't address this lingering mindset that you have, you're never going to take action. And it's something that I personally wanted to talk about. I know you wanted to talk about too, because this is something we all struggle with at some point.
Yeah, definitely. And to be honest, it comes time to time. It's not like it has happened once and it will never come back. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
work that way, because anything that you'd be doing new, your resistance, then again, everything comes down to the resistance brain. The brain says a part of it which says, don't do it, you're going to fail.
Yeah.
And we have been, raised in such a way, in such a society, in the way that our culture, or whatever you could call it, that, failing is considered as a stigma, or failure is considered,
Exactly.
you need to be, you don't fail. You have
Mm-hmm.
to top in the class. So like, it's not like be average, it's like be above average. So like
Mm-hmm.
everywhere, like starting from the school time, it's always like you being compared by who topped in the school. So like if you go back to your home and you say, hey mom, I got this many marks, and this is the grade that I got, and
Mm-hmm.
the next question would be, who topped in your class,
That
right?
is so. That's, oh my
It's so
god, the
stereotypical.
flashbacks, man. Oh shit, you know, it's
Yeah.
true.
I didn't really, go through that kind of understanding at my family in
Hmm.
terms of grades or anything of that sort, because they were pretty much okay with that, whatever, because I was an average kind of a student in school. It's not
Hmm.
like I ever topped or anything. My sister, in fact, was the topper in a class, but I was always
Okay.
being compared, though. I was always being compared at my family also, like, look at your sister. She's getting good grades and she's a topper of the class. And what are you?
Yeah.
I'm saying I'm happy in my space.
Exactly.
The good part is they didn't, really, really push me. They tried
Hmm.
once. I failed miserably.
Hmm.
What happened was, like, in between when I was in school, I switched school to another one, and I was like really bullied really badly. And I was a like
Hmm.
big fat
Hmm.
kid, and bullied, and the culture was entirely different than I was raised in, kind of school atmosphere and everything. And slowly and gradually it started to put an impression on my grades, my school, my everything, started going down. And one of those times I just had an outburst. I went to my place, and my parents, and I told them that I can't do this. Then they understood that, I mean, I was miserable, my grades were going down and everything. Then they put me back to the older school again. Then I started performing well again. So it's just that
Wow.
push. It's just that push,
Wow.
perform better, look at the other
Yeah.
person. It's good for you, because other students are also performing better in that school, so will you. That
Hmm.
comparison came in between, and I failed. Like, if a child, you as a child or me as a child who gets bullied, we don't always go to our parents and talk about it. This is what
Hmm.
this is the other student said to
Yeah,
us.
you hold it in usually. Like you,
Yeah.
it's also another. It's a whole different topic. We will get into it at one point, but
So
yeah,
the
I do
point of
agree. Like the
bringing that up
environment plays a
is,
huge factor, and it's.
yeah. So the point of bringing
Hmm.
that part is, like, all this when you grow up, and the feeling of you're
Hmm.
not good enough, the feeling from where you have come from the past. So your past really matters in
Yeah,
you having that kind of a mindset and thinking that you're not good enough.
exactly, exactly. It's, I see that because it's very easy for, especially for, I mean for humans, but for men especially, like every small failure is more of an ego problem when it comes to just growing up. So everyone fails, like I said before. There, you make mistakes, you learn, and you grow. But you need to have that growth mindset that in order to grow you will fail. But then there's the other very dangerous mindset that failure is a character of weakness, which is not true. Anyone who starts will fail. Anyone starts as a clown, basically, or a fool in their trade. I mean, if you look at my work in content creation many years ago, it'd be like you'd laugh because the grammatical errors, like I was all over the place. But I was considered a clown or a fool in the work I did. But because I stuck with it and mastered over time, I can write better copy now or do better in whatever I do because I stuck with it. I think that with any case scenario, um, you need to have a growth mindset that yes, you might feel now you're not good enough right now, but at least if you're starting, let's say you take an action or you do whatever, take the first step or do one push up or do one pull up towards your whatever your goal is. At one point that's going to build up down the road and you're not going to be that same person anymore. Your mindset changes completely. So it's, and again, like environment plays a big part, how you're raised plays a big part as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of people need to understand that, honestly.
It does, but then again, uh, a lot of people say that a lot of people have also risen from the adversities,
Hmm.
right? Like, even if they are, like, when you see some people who are, like, look at David Goggins. Have you
Yeah.
have you read
Yeah,
him?
that guy's a machine.
He's like a monster.
The guy runs with broken legs. Like I've never heard that before. It's crazy.
And when you
And
look at,
and you heard a story before as well. Like how much like that guy is what I call a true transformation.
yeah, I mean, he could have been just one sympathy loving
Yeah.
uh, person who would be
Hmm.
just saying that, This is what has happened to me, and I've been through adversities and miseries, and my father, I never got my father's love and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But he made all that his shield, and this is how he came through. So
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, it's you, only you, who can challenge your mindset and get beyond your abilities. Nobody else
Yeah,
is going to push you out for that. You'll be
exactly.
lucky to find somebody else to push you out for that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But the first step always has to be through you, and the first step is to, like, either find a mentor, either talk
Yeah,
about it, or
yeah,
just start doing something.
exactly.
The first action will be always yours. Nobody's
You
going
know,
to understand.
even if it's the most imperfect action, let's say you want to lose weight and you only could run 5 minutes, at least you did something. That 5 minutes is going to turn into 10 minutes. That 10 minutes is going to turn into 20, 1 hour. Soon you'll be seeing compound effects. You read the compound effect book, right? You know how that works. That's with anything. And honestly, this mindset that I'm not good enough, I find that it comes from a lot of lack of action, because you're not used to taking action, because you're not used to stepping outside your comfort zone. You're not exposed to risk. You're not exposed to success. Once you start seeing that you can do something, that feeling goes away, but it's always going to be there. It's natural. But the fact that, like you said, the resistance, you want to be at a point where your resistance against that feeling that you're not good enough is so strong that even though it's still there in the back of your head saying don't do this, it becomes so weak that you don't notice it. It's always going to be there, but it really
Yeah.
depends how you kind of take the first step, right? And this is so important for a lot of people, because I see many, like, personally, like friends of mine who give up on their dreams and they don't do something that they feel because they can't do it. They feel because they're not good enough, or they're not smart enough, or not good looking enough, or don't have the perfect genes. That's all bullshit, honestly. Everything like you're taught is bullshit in that sense.
Yeah, it's a very good saying that I love from Game of Thrones, that how can a man be brave when he's afraid? A
I
man
love that.
can only be brave when he's
Hmm.
afraid. That is the answer.
Hmm.
If you are fearful or something, you have to jump into the fear to actually be, to overcome it.
Hmm.
And if you think that you're not good enough, might as well just tell yourself that you have to try it, and then
Yeah.
submit or dismiss this notion.
Hmm.
Even like working, even if you're working as in a job or anything, and if you want to start your business or anything, and you say, what if I fail, if I try, uh, I don't perform in my business the first year or anything.
Yeah.
Well, you have already failed if you don't even try, right? So you have to give it a shot before even judging yourself that you are, or you've actually done it or you're not. And
Hmm.
stop giving a fuck about what people are going to say. It
Hmm.
really doesn't matter. I simply say, is somebody there who's going to breathe in on your behalf? Is there somebody who's going to die on your behalf?
Hmm.
Nobody is. We're all going to die
Exactly.
the way that we ourselves. Nobody's going to die with us.
Yeah.
So how does it matter? And so how does it matter what the society says? How does it matter what the other person living down your neighbor, whoever he or she is, says? You
Hmm.
have to pick yourself up. Nobody else can help
Yeah.
you.
No one can work on your behalf. No one can go to the gym on your behalf. At some point, you're going to have to respect yourself enough that you actually start owning up to your problems. You start taking responsibility. I mean, it's so easy, man. I can't tell you enough that it is so easy just saying that I can't do this because this is so and so's fault. I can't do this because this guy screwed me over, or the government, or capitalism, or whatever you want to like. You can blame the government all you want. That's so easy. But I feel that we're all born in the same. I mean, obviously, there are some people that are born with resources. No denying that they're born in situations that helps them. But at the end of the day, we're given a set amount of skills. The same people who are born in, let's say, a rich family would have the same amount of skills as you do. But the fact that if you're not using the skills, and if you're just blaming other people, no matter which part in your life you are, that you're going to see the other person as an excuse that, oh, he did better because he had more resources. Not true. We all have the same amount of resources. It depends how you hone them. Yeah, he might have a head start, but that doesn't stop you from actually participating in the race.
And also, like somebody who has a head start doesn't mean that they're going to perform over the period of the whole marathon. The reason why
Mm-hmm.
is if over the period of time they get complacent and say that, oh, just not taking you, not being humble about their beginning or the kind of
Yeah.
skill that they need to keep on putting over the period of time, they're going to lose. So
Yeah.
it's not
Mm-hmm.
really about being born as in a rich family or a poor family or in adversity or in an advantage. At the end of the day, whatever you do, you have to put in an effort to even
Yeah.
keep that level of success. You have to put in the work.
You've heard all those stories before where it's virtuous, obviously, when someone comes from the slums who's had the worst adversity still managed to pull through and goes to the top. And you see this happen all the time. It's not some fairy tale. I mean, you and I can count like 10 people right now off our fingers that we personally know that went from like hell and like all the way to the top. And you hear this the same thing in the opposite side, people who are born with all the riches in the world end up performing the worst because they get complacent.
Yeah,
It's so easy.
yeah,
So going back to the same topic, like I'm not good enough, it really stems down to one, it's not that you're not good enough, it's that you were raised in an environment that you were unfairly judged. One, two, you obviously had a habit of comparing yourself. No one, you should not do that. No one's born with the same set of skills. They all have skills, but they don't have the same set of skills. So if you're comparing, let's say Albert Einstein had a famous quote, if you're comparing a monkey to a fish and say which one can climb the tree better, the monkey is going to win. And then you judge the fish by saying it's not intelligent enough or good enough. That's not true. The monkey can't swim as fast as the fish, and the fish can't climb better than the monkey. So you really need to understand who you are, why you feel that way, and then start taking action.
yeah. That's absolutely right. Like you cannot even complain that looking at somebody else's success and saying that, uh, the person, how that person has reached to those heights is insane. I could never
Mm-hmm.
do it. I could never do it. You could do
Mm-hmm.
it only if you put the same amount of effort or just cross that the amount of
Yeah.
effort the other person is doing. Are you
Mm-hmm.
ready to put that effort?
Exactly.
That's the whole point. Are you ready to
Yeah.
put that kind of, like, even today when I was thinking about my own content and everything that
Mm-hmm.
I look at other people. I mean, that's, see, resistance brain always works inside of you. It's just that how do you want to feed it or not? So like at the back of the mind, it's always like, you have to keep on pushing. You have to keep on
Mm-hmm.
putting in more content and all that stuff on your social media and whatnot. But I just don't want to do that. The reason why, because I want to provide value. I want to give something. I don't want to chase somebody else in the competition of who is winning the race by deteriorating the kind of value that I'm providing on the media side. But
Mm-hmm.
also, like, sometimes what happens is that you get so busy in competing yourself with the other person that you don't realize what you're doing and you're just competing, and you eventually fail, and then you realize you were not good enough. Yeah, you were not, because you were trying to follow some other KPIs which didn't even matter.
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
were trying to race around something else, and you forgot that what you really had to do was to provide value, not really
Yeah.
actually check out the numbers or the number of posts or content that you need to put in there.
Exactly. And that's so true, man. Like, again, it's so easy to compare, right? That, oh, this person has so many followers. This, I want to get 5 or 10,000 followers, whatever it is. Um, it comes down to like, okay, why? Again, it comes down to because I will feel good if I get 5,000 followers. That's wrong. You'll feel the same way. You just get a bigger ego, but you'll still feel that little nagging voice in your head. Look, enjoy the moment you have right now. Whatever followers you have, 500, 1,000, whatever it is, provide value to them, see the results, see the engagement, and that's when you're going to see really like massive improvements.
And like, I'm not good enough thing also comes out with the social media impact as well, right? Like
Yeah.
when you put on something, you have an automatic sense of, belief that, or just like automatic dopamine effect working on you, saying that, checking out your notifications again. Did you get any
Hmm.
likes? Did you get any comments? And the moment you don't, somehow your resistance brain tells you that you're not good enough.
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly.
And
Like, and it's so easy. I love Instagram's initiative. Like, they obviously had a bigger initiative as well, but one of the reasons they gave out that they completely got rid of the number of likes a person gets and shows them on the screen is because it is, in fact, a big source for mental health issues. People that go on Instagram and say that, oh, this person got 100 likes, I got 10, therefore I'm not good enough, and you go get up into depression. That's how you get into like a depressive mindset. It's so true, and I'm really happy that I'm seeing some initiative from the big corporate side as well. Obviously, they had bigger reasons they did that, but that's one of the reasons as well. But you know what? Like, you're going to live a life, and you're going to have people in this world, people you're going to come across who will, in genuinely will be more skilled, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
There's someone's going to be better skilled, be a better runner, thinker, smarter, will have a better body, face, whatever it is. There's someone out there, and there's going to be someone out there better than that person.
Yeah.
Your journey is not to be better than that person, because that line is not going to end. You're going to end up in a rabbit hole where you keep comparing down and down and down. What you need to do is walk your own journey, because there's no one like you. No one in this world is born in the exact same situation with the exact same mindset, the circumstance and skill set as you. So the best way to compare is compare yourself that you were yesterday. That's the most fair, accurate matrix you can use.
Yeah.
It's not fair comparing yourself to some guy who has won the genetic lottery. That's not going to be in your favor, because he had an easy hand all his life.
Yeah.
Find someone like yourself, or even just yourself, and measure up to that.
Yeah. You are your biggest competition.
Yeah.
Just look yourself in the mirror, and how well are you going to perform today in comparison to the yesterday? It's just that.
Exactly.
I mean, that's the whole point of fighting the resistance, the fighting, saying that I'm not good enough to what? The other person or to yourself?
Yeah.
Fuck that shit. The point is to just go and be a better person from what you
Exactly.
were before.
Yeah.
Evolve, learn, educate, and don't just keep money as a criteria of judging yourself in saying that you're not good enough because you cannot get a better job, didn't perform on a business,
Yeah.
or didn't get the same kind of money which the other person did. But aren't you a good human being? Isn't that the
Exactly.
marks that you really want to see? Criteria needs to change. It's also like you have to be grateful for a lot of things around you. That
Yeah.
is like the biggest thing. Like we in day-to-day things, we completely forget that what are we doing, and how better are we from our yesterday, our past, and we
Yeah.
just take it for granted. We just got to see another day. A lot of
Yeah,
people
man.
just could not do
Yeah.
that.
There are people right now that would love to see tomorrow. Honestly, right now there are millions of people around the world that
Yeah.
they know this is the last night they'll be alive. You can't take that for granted, man. It's crazy. And just to touch upon what you said, honestly, I think it's a really good habit. Before you go to bed, count 3 to 4 things you did right today, and don't judge yourself if you didn't. Make it a habit to
Yeah.
do 3 or 4 things right, or something that made you took you a step closer to your goal, or made you a better person. So if I went to the gym today and I repped out more than I did last time, that's a big win for me. See, that's how I compare matrix. I don't go to the biggest guy in the gym who's been lifting for 10 years and see how many weights he's been lifting, because that's not a fair mate. That's not fair at all. The KPI is completely off. I go back in the gym, I compare myself to my tracks yesterday and say, okay, if I did this yesterday, I can do this more again today.
Yeah.
That's how you win small battles, and that's exactly how you see. The thing is, like, once you really conquer this mindset of I'm not good enough, you have absolutely no idea how that triggers down into every part of your life.
Yeah.
You start taking more action. You have, like, it's crazy, everything becomes more natural because you have more confidence now. You're easily more able to meet more people, take bigger risks, and you won't even notice this, because it all starts here and it trickles down to all your other behaviors. Like, thoughts become things, like they say, right?
No, absolutely true, man. And moreover, like the best part about it is that you're not born with it.
Exactly.
You're not born with that kind of a mindset to, that you cannot compare yourself to the other person in saying that he was born with that kind of a mindset. It can be built. That's the
Yeah.
beauty of it. Now, it all depends on you. How much, you know, how much effort are you going to put in your development? Are you even going to do that, or is it just you are happy at a place that you want to be in? That's also fine. Like however you want to lead your life, that's fine, but at the end of the day, be grateful, Be happy.
Exactly.
Don't be condescending, right?
Yeah.
All of the things will help you to be a better person. It's not just the money to compare
Yeah.
with the other person, but also to be a good human being. Are you
Yeah.
doing that?
You know what? Like I've noticed that people that usually have that bitterness or resentment, or they're not happy, there's something in their life that's really, there's some kind of parasite in their life that's really biting them and hurting them. And most of the time, it's because they're not happy with themselves. And like I was never a happy person. I was pretty toxic at one point because I was never happy with, back in high school I was never happy with my grades, because I would compare myself to the top performer. I was never happy, let's say, in sports, because there was always someone who's better at me, so I would lash out. And I noticed that, okay, this is not me. Why am I doing this? And it took years of like self discovery, but at a certain point I realized the problem isn't that it's the government or it's that guy or this person did this wrong to me. It's the way I perceive things. I reacted in a way that really disabled me to grow as a person.
Yeah.
And by taking responsibility, and this is what a lot of people need to start doing, and I'm not an angel, I'm still like working on it, but take a step and start working towards taking responsibility.
I,
It's such a big changer.
one thing I would say, sorry to interrupt you in between. Do you think people on the top are have perfected this art? Everybody is a work in progress.
Hmm.
It's just that some your challenges are different than the other person's.
Exactly.
That's the only difference. The level of challenges, the level of problems are entirely different, but everybody is in work in progress. You have
Exactly.
to understand that nobody can perfect this art. There's no such thing.
And there's no end. There's no such thing as perfection. There's only self growth. Like no one is born, let's say you have a scale, let's say linear scale. No one's born a number 10 or number 100, however you want to look at it. You got to look at yourself linearly. Like you were born at number 0. Okay, you're over here, and you gotta grow all the way here. Let's say if this person is closing $1 million deal and you're right over here, you can't compare that because he's had 10, 20 years of going up there. You got to go get that journey as well before you can compare yourself that, hey, this guy closed $1 million or 100 million, I'm closing 50 or 100 or even $200. That's not good enough. I got to keep pushing. Yes,
Right.
push yourself, but don't compare yourself saying that, hey, if he's doing it, I should do it too. No, you got to put in the work and do the same things that person did, which I find that, like you mentioned, that it's so much easier to fantasize about being the next millionaire or billionaire, but it's not easy taking the steps. Nobody wants to get up early in the morning. Nobody wants to, work on personal development or do the networking or like do the research. They all just want to go home, watch TV, and then think about one day I'm going to be a millionaire.
Yeah.
You got to put in the work, man.
You have to put in the work. There's no other
Mm-hmm.
alternative. You could be a hard worker, but then again, you also have to be a smart worker. I think
Mm-hmm.
both things goes hand in hand. It's not just that it's one on the other. You have to be a hard worker for sure, but you also have to be smart. Now, because
Right.
why do I say that? Because you have to realize how do you compress time, because we all have got the same average lifespan that we have, right?
Exactly.
And so the moment you realize in your life is where you decide to take up the notch. And the only way to reach that level of goal or success and whatever you may call it, my understanding is that how can you compress time, because that is the only criteria to judge yourself, only criteria to win from your other self, your past
Mm-hmm.
self, and
Mm-hmm.
how you could leverage somebody else's experiences. How could you leverage uh, you know from your environment and
Mm-hmm.
compress time?
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
You just need to ask. That is the
Yeah,
whole
man.
problem.
Yeah.
Nobody
There was
takes
this there was
yes.
this really interesting study I was reading, and I was also watching this on a TED talk where the guy presented it. The idea is that if you just put in 1 hour every single night before you go to bed to one skill that you want to perfect in 5 years, you'll be the master of it. 5 years, that's it.
Yeah.
And just 1 hour, you won't even notice. 1 hour, read a book about it. 1 hour, write something, whatever it is. 5 years, you're going to be the number one at least, if not the master in your skill. Like, and if you want to, obviously there are massive action takers that are putting crazy amount of hours because that's who they want to be. If you want to be like, let's say the next Elon Musk, obviously that's a big statement. You got to put in the work. Elon would do 80 hours a week sometimes, and not just regular hours, like really good hours with no distractions. If you can put in that kind of work, then yeah, it's fair to say you can compare yourself.
So that's why I said like it's really important to understand between being hard worker and smart worker. Again, the reason why I said that, like, you could be a worker, you could be a laborer who could be
Mm-hmm.
working 100 hours in a week and still not get paid as much as you were worth or something.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the number of hours you work, but how smart also you work.
Mm-hmm.
How do you place yourself in the whole scheme of things? Where do you
Mm-hmm.
see yourself? I think really that is also one of the major criteria to understand, that it's not just the hard work which gets you to the place that you really want to be. You need to be smart. You have to.
Yeah.
Again, nobody's born that way. You
Mm-hmm.
have to build that skill. You have to help you build that artistic brain that I'm talking about, which is weak. You have to nourish it. You have to, make it strong. You have to give water, plant seeds, give more nutrition. And nutrition is through what? Health. Nutrition is through what? Reading books.
Mm-hmm.
Nutrition is through talking, having this kind of discussion, talking to
Yeah.
people. I say my point of networking is that I want to be the dumbest person in the room. It's as simple as that. As
Mm-hmm.
long as I'm the dumbest person, I'm in that room. The moment that I outsmart, I'm not going to be in that room. It's as simple
Mm-hmm.
as that.
Mm-hmm.
So what am I doing? I'm just trying to feed my weakest part of the brain.
If you think about it, like if you're really just working so many hours, like you got to be obviously smart about it. Like you can't just put overtime in a coffee shop and expect to be an overnight success. You got to work smart. When we talk about putting in the hours, we talk about putting in hours of really improving yourself, your mental health, your physical self, and your skill set. That's going to make you money. You need to have at least one high income skill. Um, it could be many things. It could be video production, coding, real estate, anything, but it has to be in high income scale. You have to solve problems. And two, you have to be the master at it to become the next top guy. How do you become the master at it? Put in the hours, right? And I've noticed as well, like, in order to really do anything good in life, you need to have like a triangle of, I call it a triangle, you can call it many things, but you need to have wealth. And wealth could be, it's easier to have money to put money in towards your investment. You need to have your physical health for sure. You need to have your mental health as well. These three things are really going to help you out. If you don't have the wealth, let's say the money, don't worry. Just focus on the free stuff that you can get. Watch YouTube videos. You don't need a mentor if you can afford it. Watch someone else providing free value. Once you start implementing the steps, making some money, get that money and put it towards more yourself. Invest in it. Don't buy a suit. I know it feels nice, but buy like an hour of a coaching call. That's going to be a big game changer.
Yeah, totally. And just keep on reminding yourself about it, that,
Mm-hmm.
uh, you don't have to compare yourself with the other person. You are your biggest competition. That's it. Don't
Mm-hmm.
just fall into the traps of saying that you're not good enough in comparison to the other person, because that is not a real KPI that you should be working on when you are judging yourself.
Yeah.
That's just insane.
Mm-hmm. One thing I do want to also say is that some things you should definitely start doing is I found this helpful, and I'm sure you've done this a lot too, is having a gratitude journal. Just being grateful, man, it really changes a lot. Um, it's just going to be a challenge, but anyone listening, I'll actually challenge them: write 100 things this week that you're grateful for. Do this for a few weeks at least consistently, and you're going to see a massive change in your mindset. And I know 100 could be a lot, but just break it down. What are you grateful for? I'm grateful for, let's say I had a job. I can, in this tough times of COVID-19, I can go to work. I'm grateful that I have coffee in the morning. It feels
Mhm.
really nice. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for like kids, whatever it is, anything, and really just count them and feel what you not don't just write them, but feel them. Do this for a few weeks, I'd say a month, and you're going to see a massive change. Small things like this, even though they sound really stupid, but this is what your brain needs. It needs the small stupid things to make a change in your life.
Yeah, just like even if you start with three for each and every day.
Yeah, that's still something, man. That is still something.
You
Like,
can get it on Amazon, man. My wife just recently got one for me.
oh,
So
nice, really.
yeah, so it's just like you have to fill it out
Mm-hmm.
every single day, and of course it has to be like it has the whole point of this exercise is to put more pressure on your brain in thinking
Yeah.
what you're really grateful of. So not have to repeat the same things again and again and again for the whole week. So
Yeah.
because it's so easy to forget, right? It's so easy
Hmm.
to forget that we are grateful of a lot of things. So put pressure into thinking, what are you grateful of things different than the yesterday or
Exactly.
before yesterday.
Hmm.
So I think this is a brilliant exercise. It just makes you feel more humble, grounded,
Yeah.
and also, confident, more confident about yourself.
Right. And those people that are questioning this, like kind of just small things like these, I'll tell you the psychology behind it as well. It's really interesting that um, it's, people obviously in our society grow up with a very negative mindset, a very um, scarcity mindset, and it's so hard to get a more positive and abundant mindset just by doing small things like these, where you're acknowledging that you had a good day, you're grateful for this. You're training your brain to think more positively. You're not replacing the negative aspects. I'm not saying ignore the problems you have, face them. At the same time, enjoy and be grateful for what you have. And that's actually going to trick your mind into thinking more positively. And that's not just going to be like a happy go feeling moment. You're going to see that spill over into your actions. Like, trust me, it's so much easier to go to the gym. It's so much easier to eat healthy and take action when you're in a positive mindset and versus you're in a negative mindset. If you're in a negative mindset, you're going to be in bed, you're not going to do anything. You know, your mindset really plays a big role in how you work.
Yeah, definitely. Physical exercises also help you a lot.
Yeah, I would say physical exercise is the number one thing you should be doing right now. If you're not, if you want to change your life in any way possible,
Unless you're Gary Vee and you are insane, you don't have to.
unless you're Superman, uh, and you have like an insane amount of like resources mentally, you're
Yeah.
fine. I don't know how the guy does it, man.
He's a
Like how many
superman, by the way.
he is. He like the amount of coffee he probably drinks in the morning. Holy shit.
He's always
He's
so
always on fire. It's
fire.
crazy.
He, in one of his videos that I was looking at, he said that I tried working out and I thought, because I've been told a lot many times that you have to work out to make yourself mentally strong and disciplined. And he said it never worked out for me because I think that I'm already stronger than mentally even
Hmm.
without working out. So it works only for him. But what I would say is like it really helped me. It helped me. It helped
Yeah.
me a lot. It helped me out of my depression also. It helped
Yeah.
me out in the way that I am disciplined with a lot of things in my life now. I think it helped me to go to that level only with physical health, because it's not really that you're working on physical side of the things. It actually builds a lot of mental stamina when you're
Hmm.
working out. It's
Yeah.
not just that I need to flex and show that I have big guns.
Yeah.
The discipline that it takes you to build those big guns is insane. That
Hmm.
is what shows like how disciplined would you be, would a one person be if he or she can build a physical health. What could be the mental discipline one has to go through to do that?
Exactly.
Diet is there, the sleep patterns are there,
Yeah.
how you're going to work and still balance it out on
Hmm.
uh, the whole day while working and working out, and discipline, basically it gets you discipline. So workout is something that you could do, man. I in fact, it's
Hmm.
so insane that a lot of people say that during this shutdown and blah blah blah, the gyms are all closed and I couldn't go to the gym and everything. I fucking hit 159 push-ups in one go only during this
Yeah.
lockdown.
Hmm.
What did I need for doing that? What
Yeah.
I just needed a floor.
Exactly. You know what? In the end, like you can make excuses or you can actually face a problem. Like, yeah, I know it's nice to go to the gym, but to say that, oh, the gyms are closed, I'm not.
I literally, I know I'm so emotional about that fact. I can't go to the gym, but then again, that shouldn't stop me from working out. That's
Exactly.
supposed. I mean, I so miss it, and especially in Toronto, it's been locked since I don't know since ages. It's been
Yeah.
going to be almost a year in February.
Eeh. Yeah, man. It's like for us in Waterloo, they're closing it this week. They were doing it like in small capacities, 10 people per session. Now they're closing it down officially. So you can sit at home, say like I'll start working out in the next month when it opens, which probably won't be the case. Or you can start pivoting, start taking actions in different areas. For example, like you said, they're not going to lock down the floor. Start doing a push up.
Yeah,
You know, get like those. Get
resistance band.
weights. Yeah, resistant bands. Get weights. Work out at home. Have a routine. It's much easier. No one's there to judge you. You can stay in your pajamas, and I honestly think it's the best time to do it is in the morning when no one's there to disturb you at all. And I think personally, like if you really want to see some change, just having a very small routine, like even if it's 10 minutes, doing something active in the morning really sets your day apart. And then obviously you can do a proper workout when you get home, but just starting off on the right foot really does help. So just like small things like farmer carry like 10 pound, 20-pound dumbbells across the hall, stuff like that. Easy.
Yeah.
Don't need to sweat. Just do some activity.
Activity. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, this is something I wanted to bring up a lot because I've seen a lot of people struggle with just this mindset. And in the end, man, it's just about two things: your mindset and the actions you take. And you can't skip one or the other. You can have the best mindset. If you're not taking action, it's not going to change. If you're taking action with the wrong mindset, you're not going to get anywhere.
Ali, like the reason why we started this podcast, the reason why we're talking openly about all these mental issues,
Mm-hmm.
physical issues, and whatnot, like whatever you're going through, somebody is going through. The reason why is to just talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Why we're doing is because we need to talk about it. And if somebody is going through this kind of a situation, be open to find a friend or find someone who you can relate with and just speak to him or her if you're going
Mm-hmm.
so of this kind of a dilemma inside your mind. The best way to you know get out of it is to share it.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's how it is.
For the people that are watching this who have like a full-time job, um, and I've seen this a lot, and it surprises me a lot of people don't do this, but you have benefits. You probably have therapists or psychology coverage where you can go see a psychologist and work with. There's a stigma around people saying that, oh, I don't want to go to a therapist or work with a psychologist because it'll come off weak. That is so wrong. People don't go there because they're weak, man. People go there to find themselves.
I'll tell you, like, it's very true whatever you said, because I remember when I was a kid, not really a kid, when I was in my teens and I was undergoing
Mm-hmm.
depression, and even though I would have been consulted by one of for the psychologist or psychiatrist, but I never went because
Mm-hmm.
also because of the society, because of the uh, you know yeah, your parents also don't believe in such kind of a thing, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So
This
just
is just like it's yeah. It's a very, especially in our culture. It's so pathetic, honestly, and it really annoys me. And we're going to talk about this in the next episode more. Um, People like our parents grew up in a time where anything that was considered mental was considered not to be talked about. Um, if you break your leg, you put a cast on, you take some pills, and you don't feel the pain, and you get better. But if there's something wrong with, and there could be physical changes in your brain, it's proven. And if there's a physical change and there's something that needs to be addressed, you're not going to feel better without seeing a doctor, seeing a therapist, seeing or taking action. Ignoring it because of society's belief is going to make it worse. Trust me, you don't want to be in a boat 20 years later thinking that I wish I consulted a doctor, because at that point it's going to be very late. Once you're a certain age, certain habits, certain mindsets, they're very hard to change. So take action right away.
absolutely.
And, yeah. And I do also wanted to say, like, those questioning the power of having a good mental coach, I implore you, like, this is something that really will, I can guarantee right now, having someone to talk to, someone who's a professional, will actually, you'll see massive results. I'll tell you my own experience. I met a doctor, and I was talking to you about this as well. So this is covered under, I'm glad it's covered under my work insurance. I took a psychodynamic test.
Mhm.
And basically, this is a very classical test. You've seen those ink blot tests that have some ink spots on the picture. You read the picture out. It's a very intensive test for 6 to 8 hours. And I took this test because I wanted to find more about myself. On average, this test would cost around $3,000, 2,400. Since I was covered, I was very grateful that I can just take it and find more about myself. That guy read me like a fucking book. It's crazy. And not just that, but he pinpointed exactly what I needed to improve and exactly what my strengths are. And when I started thinking about them, I'm like, this guy's fucking right. This is something I've been ignoring my entire life.
Can I ask you one question?
Yes.
What were the things that he said that you need to improve?
One, procrastination. It's amazing. He's pointed that out. He said, you're a procrastinator. I can tell. I'm like, how the fuck did you find out? He said, because like, don't ask the wise, but I know that you're putting a lot of things off because one goes back to the same thing. You don't have confidence that you can do it. And it's linked to 1,000 different things in your mindset that's why you procrastinate. That's a big one. So that's something I started working on, really changing my mindset. And now like it's been only like 8 months and I'm seeing massive change where I'm doing things where I thought I couldn't do because I would procrastinate. Now I'm actually changing behaviors and working on things that it's amazing that I'm doing things I couldn't do before, right? Another thing he pointed out was basically this is exactly what we're talking about as well, is that you're not content with your current, let's say, you compare yourself to a lot, you're not content. That's why it affects your self-esteem. So that's something we worked on as well. So there are 1,000 things the test can tell you. So just having the test done and figuring out what your weaknesses are, even though if you don't want to go to have like a proper session, I recommend that you do get the results and really figure out what you can improve on. It is a blessing.
Mhm. So now, when you know about it, now have you started implementing them? Like, if you are
Yeah.
now you know.
So exactly. So like once you start, wants to tell you, like I actually, he's actually my coach now and I go to him all the time and he tells me what I can improve on. um, every time I go there, he tells me things I can change, like certain behaviors. So, for example, I never used to do this. I have a to-do list on my wall, and I write down things like in order to avoid procrastination. I write down 4 or 5 things I need to get done right away, and I have a schedule. So that really keeps me on track. And I never used to do that before. Stuff like that, really small things you will never notice, really help you out, and you can never really do those things unless you actually find out what the problems are. You know.
It's basically just hitting, just knocking at your lizard brain and telling it that
Exactly, because you're your
I
worst
see
enemy
you
when
in
it
the
comes to
work.
hiding that.
Yeah, it's just telling your lizard brain that I know you are in the works right now, and I'm just going to verbalize it, and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to just make it more
Yeah.
effective if you get weak over the period of time.
Exactly. So it's so much easier when you know what your and who your enemy is than shooting in the dark. Now I know exactly what my weaknesses were. I can work towards them versus thinking going on completely different directions, thinking that, oh, I should do this, I should do that, I should have a business, I should fucking run a marathon. No,
And
find your weakness.
also I want to clarify to the people who would be watching this later on that uh, we're talking about mental weaknesses. We're not really talking about weaknesses, working on your weaknesses, like if you're not good in operations, if you're not good in mathematics, or if you're not good in
Hmm.
something that you're not good at. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's
So yes, I do want to say that as well. Like having natural strengths.
yeah.
Like you can't force a creative guy to be a mathematician. Like that's not what he's built for, right?
Just
Same thing. But you can improve the creative guy to be a better person at what he does. No one's going to be born perfect. Everyone's going to have natural strengths, but that doesn't mean you can still not improve, right? You got to still improve in certain things.
yeah. No, I'm glad, Ali, that we did this, and I think I hope our viewers, our audience, our people who are listening to us, or maybe watch later on this on the
Mm-hmm.
channel, might get some value out of this. And thank you for bringing this topic, man. I really appreciate, and I think it's very important at the end of the day to talk about it, talk more and more about it. And
Mm-hmm.
like we said in the last, the foundation of this podcast is that it's more going to be like from our own journey, from our own
Yeah,
experience,
man. Mm-hmm.
and we know what we go through, just like any other human being. We just try
Yeah.
to get it out of system. We're not perfect. I'm not fucking perfect. The reason why I'm talking about this, the reason why I'm on this podcast, I'm just getting it out of my system. I just want to
Yeah.
just blab it out of the system so that it doesn't affect me. And that's what I want my audience. That's what I want people who'd be listening to this to do. Just talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
You'll feel so much relaxed. And you think I or Ali care about it? Like, if somebody wants to comment bad about it, that's
Mm-hmm.
their reality, not ours. My
Exactly.
just put it out there, and if somebody has to, get attracted to it, it's brilliant. If doesn't, they need to change their reality or they need to work on.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah, like that's not the goal. Our goal is to like as tell the journey and help as like many people as possible. Because honestly, we are like we all struggle with the same shit. We put on a face mask and we think that we can trick people, but honestly, we are all the same human beings in the end. We all have the same problems.
That's again right, like the level of
Hmm.
it's there's no such thing as perfection. There's no such thing as it's we are all work in progress. Yeah, like you said.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
that's the whole point, man. And I'm uh,
Yeah.
thank you for
Yeah,
this.
man, it was awesome. Like, I'm actually really excited. I'm really happy we did this and really looking forward to our next episode. We actually have a special guest. Hopefully, I think next or the one after, we'll figure it out. But I'm very happy to introduce you guys to this fucking mastermind of a guy. I know you most of you heard of him,
Yeah,
but
we'll surprise you. Right now, we'll
mhm,
not give you more details about it. Uh,
yeah,
the reason why we're doing that is because we want to give you more value and give a
mhm,
different perspective from somebody else as well. So that
exactly.
just to tell you guys that Ali and I are not the only guys who are blabbing about this. There are other.
Yeah, other people that had the same demons and they came out on top. Like this isn't some fairy tale made up shit we're coming out of our ass. This is something that happens every fucking day, and you got to hear the story. Like you'll be really happy when you hear this guy's story. It's amazing. It amazes me every fucking time he comes on and starts talking. It's fucking motivating.
Yeah, yeah. And by the way, that guy still doesn't know that he's going to be
Yeah,
here.
yeah. So hopefully he says yes. Otherwise, we're gonna cut this part out of the podcast because we haven't even asked him. We're just assuming he's gonna be on. So yeah, let's
Yeah,
see.
yeah. Thank you so much for listening to us, guys, and I hope we were able to provide some value. And if you really like what we're doing here, just give us a 5-star rating and give put some reviews about it. Like, what is it that you really got the
Yeah.
value out of this podcast that we did? And
Mhm.
hope to see you next, guys, next time.
Yeah, guys, I'm really happy about this. Take care, everybody.
All
Later.
right.